Bună ziua, dragii mei. Welcome to day 6. Firstly, with reference to yesterday, in Romania we say noroc or sănătate when we're chinking our glasses. Prost means bad. Prost means bad in Romanian. So if someone is chinking your glass and saying prost, it's not good. They think it's Moldova. If you didn't get that, Kenneth Wolstenholme's commentary for the 1966 World Cup. They think it's all over. It is now. Okay, well today slightly different. I want to talk about a painting which I hope I've posted alongside this vlog because as I said yesterday, I've been looking at paintings every day, an artist. So the one I want to talk about, and if you take anything at all from what I say, if you learn anything about this painting to help you appreciate it more, then I've done my job. I love this painting. It's by Georges Seurat. It's probably one of his most famous paintings, Un dimanche après-midi à l'île de la Grande Jatte. It represents a set of people, they look like they're bourgeoisie, on the island of the Grande Jatte, which is between Neuilly and Levallois-Perret in Paris, alongside the Seine. I'm not going to describe the painting because you can see it in the image I will post. But La Grande Jatte just means a bowl, so it's like an upturned bowl. Today, if you go there, I've been there, it's covered in expensive apartment blocks because it's in a very desirable area of Paris. But then it was a park where people would meet on a Sunday or when they were free. There were lots of guinguettes or bars where you could go and get a drink and go for a walk and just associate with other people, just as people do in parks nowadays. Seurat died tragically young at the age of 38. He lived from 1853 to 1891, and his studio was quite near La Grande Jatte, and he would take walks there. And when he was preparing the painting, the genesis of the painting, if you like, he did some sketches in black and white and some painted as well. They're called croquetons, or little morsels, and he did them on a tiny little easel that he carried. And you could almost fit the painting together from these croquetons. There's one of a lady sitting, there's one of a dog, there's one of a tree, etc., etc. He composed the picture. It took him 2 years to do. Between 1884 and 1886, and it was exhibited at the final, I think the 6th Impressionist Salon, the last Impressionist Salon. And really Seurat is the father of Neo-Impressionism or Post-Impressionism, what we call pointillisme. He didn't call it that, he called it divisionisme, but little tiny intricate patches of colour building up to create a canvas. It's a big canvas. It's 2 meters 7 by 3 meters 8, and these are the exact dimensions of his apartment or his atelier where he painted it. So he was actually using one side wall of his atelier to do the painting. If you look at the painting, there were 3 versions that he completed between 1884 and 86. He altered them. The first alteration was to reduce the amount of shadow. And then the final alteration was to decorate the frame. He painted the frame with dots of colour, which opposed the colour on the inside, therefore stressing those colours. You can see the painting in its initial form in another painting of his called Les Poseuses, the models, where he's actually recreated the picture in his studio with 3 models. The horizontal axis is clearly the shadow. The vertical axis is the woman with the parasol, and the vanishing point, you're drawn down this alley of trees, and the 2 banks of the river combine at the end, and they meet at the monocle of the gentleman who's smoking a cigar with his companion in the front right. Seurat's paintings are always linked. Baignade is the painting which suggests La Grande Jatte. It's the workers on the other bank. The workers and the bourgeoisie in the 1880s had different days off. The bourgeoisie had Sundays off, the workers had Mondays off. So Baignade, you have a group of working class boys playing music, swimming, and looking across to the bourgeois Grande Jatte. The Grande Jatte, as I said, suggests les poseuses suggest parades suggest cirque. So there's always a link between a character in his paintings. As I said, he was the exponent of divisionnism. He followed the colour theories of Chevreul. He used a very simple palette, using only primary or secondary colours. And his brushwork is extraordinarily intricate. If you look at the trees, the brushstroke on the trees represents the sap, the flow of the sap on the trees that he's painted. He used, for his yellow flecks in the grass, he used zinc chromate, which was already beginning to deteriorate and change its colour from yellow to brown. So if you look at the painting now, it's in the Art Institute of Chicago. You won't see yellow in the grass, you'll see brown because it decomposes. Well, looking at the painting, it just looks like a normal bourgeois day out. Everyone's respectable. You've got a nurse in the middle, you've got children, you've got soldiers, and you've got this couple. But there are disparities of scale. Look at the size of the man in the black hat and the cane sitting down. He's deliberately reduced the size of that man so that he can open up the painting so we can see the other characters. You've got a jockey in the foreground on the left. It looks as if he has an amputated leg. You've got some strange orange triangles on the right-hand side. They're actually parasols, which we can see from the croquetant, but you don't see in the final version because Seurat has decided to cut that off. You've got a double shadow thrown by a single tree. Again, very bizarre, and it throws you off a little bit because there are two shadows. In fact, there's another tree behind the tree, which again we can see from the croquetant. Look at the smoke from the pleasure boats, the steamers. They're going in different directions, so apparently the wind is blowing in two different directions, and that's reinforced by the sails on the yachts, which are being blown by winds coming from apparently contradictory directions. So what does it all mean? Well, it's a bourgeois facade. The monkey on the leash with the lady in the foreground indicates l'usure or impropriety. She isn't a respectable bourgeois wife. She's a prostitute, and she's been picked up by the gentleman with the cigar and the monocle. Similarly, the woman fishing by the river is not fishing for fish, she is fishing for clients. La Grande Jatte was well known as a place to go to pick up women. So what you see is not what is happening. The figures do not communicate, they're sphinx-like. And for me, it's redolent of my own situation here. It represents the mutism of society in isolated decline. There's a lack of discourse, and self-isolation is on a human scale. And it's almost as if the characters in the previous painting, Baignade and Agnières, are calling out to the people on the Grande Jatte, saying, we are the future and you are the past, because many changes were happening in France, and Seurat was very well aware. Well, it was, he died, as I said, at 38. It was left to his brother, who sold the painting for 800 francs. It was then sold in the 20th century to the Art Institute of Chicago for $20,000 US. Current estimates, well, it's priceless, but I think current estimates are $675 million. Well, I hope you enjoy looking at the painting, and if anything I've said brings it to life for you, then I'm glad. A final joke. Today, I'll be taking tomorrow off because it's Sunday, so I'll be back on Monday. But a final joke. A guy, again from the Ceausescu era, was making jokes about Ceausescu, and he said, our dictator's an idiot. And he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Well, after the 25 years, he was released, and he said to his jailer, why on earth, for a simple joke, did I get 25 years? Ah, no, comrade, you got 5 years for the joke, and you got 20 years for revealing a state secret. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Sunday. See you next time on Monday.